The morning fog rolls over Cornwall, and through the mist, a 12-year-old boy gazes at the land that will one day be his. His name, Prince George, future King of England and heir to a royal fortune worth over £1.3 billion, the Duchy of Cornwall. This is no fairy tale. Created in 1337, the duchy was built to secure wealth and power for heirs to the throne. Today, it spans 128,000 acres across 23 counties, castles, farms, villages, and even eco-communities, generating £25 to £30 million a year. For now, Prince William oversees it, but one day George will inherit it all. And when that day comes, he will not just be a royal symbol, he will be the CEO of one of Britain's greatest real estate empires. Top 5 massive estates. Prince George will inherit as Duke of Cornwall. Let's open the gates and step into the world that awaits England's future king. 1. Restormel Castle, Cornwall. Perched high above the tranquil Fowey River Valley, Restormel Castle stands like a stone crown resting on the green hills of Cornwall, silent, circular, and hauntingly beautiful. What remains today are ruins, yes, but not the kind that feel abandoned. They breathe history. They whisper stories of dukes and knights, of loyalty and legacy. The castle's design is striking. A perfect circle of gray stone, surrounded by a deep, grassy moat now carpeted with wildflowers. On spring mornings, bluebells, rhododendrons, and daffodils sweep across the slopes like brushstrokes of color from an English watercolor. The air smells faintly of moss and morning rain, and when the wind moves through the archways, it hums like an echo from centuries past. Built in the 13th century, Restormel was once a luxurious residence for the early Dukes of Cornwall. Unlike the defensive strongholds of its era, this was a castle of prestige, a symbol of authority and refinement. Inside those now roofless walls, the Great Hall once hosted royal banquets. Tall windows poured sunlight over tapestries and wooden tables, and vast fireplaces roared with life. From here, the duchy was administered, its rents collected, its lands managed, its influence spread across Cornwall. Today, the castle is a ruin, but one alive with purpose. Managed by English Heritage, Restormel serves as both a historical site and an educational landmark, a bridge between medieval power and modern preservation. Visitors can walk the ancient circular path along the inner walls, look out over the same valleys that the Black Prince once surveyed, and imagine the grandeur that once filled the stone shell below. Its history you can feel under your feet. For the Duchy of Cornwall, this place is more than an artifact, it's an emblem. The estate surrounding the castle forms part of a living network of duchy-managed land that continues to support local conservation, ecotourism, and education programs. The Restormel walking trail now connects the castle to the Duchy Arboretum, a lush showcase of native British trees, and a Duchy Cafe, where local produce and sustainable farming are highlighted. Every element reflects the duchy's philosophy of stewardship, preserving the past while nurturing the future. And somewhere, perhaps years from now, you can picture a young duke, Prince George, climbing the spiral stone staircase of Restormel. He pauses at the top, overlooking the Fowey Valley bathed in morning mist, and feels, perhaps for the first time, the weight and wonder of what it means to inherit history. This castle won't be his fortress. It will be his reminder that leadership isn't about possession, it's about preservation. Restormel Castle is both the beginning and the echo, a place where Cornwall's story began and where the duchy's future continues to draw inspiration. It connects George not only to the lineage of kings, but to the landscape itself, to the rolling hills, the soft rain, and the timeless rhythm of English earth. But beyond the medieval walls, George's inheritance extends into something far more complex. A land that once held prisoners and now holds possibilities. 2. Dartmoor Prison and Lands, Devon. Perched 430 meters above sea level in the wild heart of Devon, HMP Dartmoor has stood for more than 2 centuries as one of Britain's most infamous prisons. From afar, it looks like something out of a Gothic painting. Gray walls rising from the fog, flanked by moorland that stretches endlessly toward the horizon. The air up here is sharp, the wind constant, and the silence heavy. Yet beneath that silence lies history, humanity, and a surprising connection to the Duchy of Cornwall. Because this fortress of discipline is, in fact, royal land. Dartmoor Prison, along with the surrounding village of Princetown, is owned by the duchy itself. The Ministry of Justice merely rents it, meaning that even a place built for confinement remains part of the future duke's inheritance. Built in 1806, the prison's first purpose was far from domestic. It was constructed to house French prisoners of war captured during the Napoleonic conflicts. Later, it would hold American sailors detained during the War of 1812, men who called the place Hell on the Moor. Decades passed, wars ended, and Dartmoor was reborn as a British penal institution, holding generations of convicts who lived and labored under its harsh conditions. By the late 20th century, Dartmoor had transformed again. No longer a symbol of punishment, it became a lesson in rehabilitation, offering education, workshops, and even environmental projects within its walls. Its architectural value was formally recognized in 1987, when the complex was listed as a Grade II historic site, protecting its polygonal officers' hall, old cemetery, and reservoir. Yet as time wore on, the granite began to crack. In October 2025, Dartmoor temporarily closed due to serious health and safety issues. The closure sent shockwaves through the local economy, costing an estimated £30 million and leaving the village of Princetown struggling. Many residents depended on the prison for their livelihoods, from guards and teachers to cafe owners and tradesmen. What was once a cornerstone of the community suddenly became a ghost on the hill. This story is far from over. The duchy's ownership means that Dartmoor's fate lies in royal hands, and eventually, in George's. The question isn't whether it will reopen as a prison, but what it might become next. Could those cold granite blocks one day shelter an eco-hotel, an educational heritage site, or a national museum of justice? Could the surrounding moorland be revived into a conservation zone, blending history with environmental renewal? These are the kinds of decisions that define modern royal stewardship, the art of transforming legacy into relevance. King Charles III has already proven that heritage doesn't have to stand still. Under his reign, many duchy properties have been reimagined for sustainability and community benefit. It's easy to imagine Prince George following in those footsteps, taking a relic of punishment and reshaping it into a monument of progress. For him, Dartmoor may become a symbol not of confinement, but of transformation, proof that even the hardest walls can hold new purpose. Because inheritance, after all, isn't about keeping the past intact. It's about giving it a future. From granite walls to graceful town squares, George's inheritance doesn't end with ruins or relics. It evolves into living, breathing communities. 3. Poundbury, Dorset. Set on the western edge of Dorchester in Dorset, Poundbury is not just a town. It's an idea brought to life. Conceived in the late 1980s by King Charles III, then the Prince of Wales, Poundbury was designed to challenge everything people thought they knew about urban life. Instead of sterile suburban sprawl or lifeless high-rises, Charles imagined a place where community, craftsmanship, and sustainability would coexist. Over more than 400 acres of duchy land, that vision has taken form. A thriving neighborhood of 5,000 residents, where the baker, the banker, and the barista truly do share the same street. The architecture looks like a scene from a Jane Austen novel. Elegant Georgian terraces, cobbled courtyards, and pastel facades glowing softly in the Dorset sun. But beneath that charm lies the precision of modern engineering. Poundbury blends old-world aesthetics with 21st century function, energy-efficient homes, pedestrian-friendly layouts, and an infrastructure designed around people, not cars. One of the town's boldest principles is its social inclusivity. Roughly 35% of its homes are affordable housing, yet they are built to the same standard and style as private residences. There are no rich streets or poor corners, just homes with dignity, reflecting the duchy's belief that beauty and respect shouldn't depend on income. Dignity for all isn't just a slogan here, it's built into the brickwork. At the heart of Poundbury lies Queen Mother Square, the town's civic centerpiece. Opened by the late Queen Elizabeth II in 2016, the square features a bronze statue of the Queen Mother, designed by sculptor Philip Jackson. Surrounding it are grand buildings conceived by classical architects Quinlan and Francis Terry, whose neoclassical facades nod to history while housing cafes, offices, and apartments. It's a square that feels both timeless and alive, like London's Mayfair reborn in the English countryside. But Poundbury isn't only about architecture, it's about lifestyle. The community pulses with activity. Morning markets filled with local produce, art galleries tucked between bakeries, and green courtyards where children play safely away from traffic. Each August, the Dorset Food and Arts Festival transforms Queen Mother Square into a celebration of local culture, where farmers, chefs, and artists gather to showcase the best of southern England. Education and innovation also flourish here. The town is surrounded by some of the region's best schools, including the renowned Thomas Hardy School and Sixth Form, while Prince of Wales Primary and Damers Primary reflect the same holistic values, teaching children that sustainability and heritage go hand in hand. Just outside the town, on the gently sloping fields, sits Rainbarrow Farm, a project that perfectly captures the duchy's eco-minded spirit. It's Britain's first large-scale biogas-to-grid facility, turning local food waste into renewable energy that powers homes across Dorset. What once was farmland now fuels a self-sufficient circular economy, a quiet revolution disguised as rural life. Economically, Poundbury has defied skeptics. What began as a royal passion project has become a profitable, replicable model of sustainable development, generating jobs, tourism, and civic pride. Socially, it's proof that human-centered design still matters in an age of digital disconnection. For Prince George, Poundbury will be more than an inheritance. It will be a blueprint, a tangible expression of his grandfather's philosophy that tradition and progress can walk hand in hand. When his time comes, George won't need to reinvent the duchy's mission. He'll simply need to expand it. And perhaps one day, his signature project will rise from the shores of Cornwall, echoing the lessons learned here in Dorset. And as Dorset shaped his grandfather's dream, Cornwall will soon shape his own, with a new town rising from the sea breeze. 4. Nansledan, Cornwall. Its name comes from the Cornish word for wide valley, but its meaning now stretches much further. A vision of the future where the monarchy's legacy meets environmental design. Located on the edge of Newquay, one of Britain's most famous surf towns, Nansledan feels like a younger coastal sibling to Poundbury. Locals call it Surfbury, a nickname that perfectly captures its personality. A place where classic Cornish charm meets contemporary coastal energy. Spread across 218 hectares, around 540 acres, Nansledan will eventually include 3,700 homes, seamlessly mixing family houses, townhouses, and apartments, with 30% reserved as affordable housing, all designed to be indistinguishable from private homes. It's not a token gesture. It's an intentional effort to keep communities diverse, balanced, and deeply local. The architecture reflects the spirit of Cornwall: pastel-hued facades, slate roofs, and narrow lanes that invite walking over driving. Every detail in Nansledan is meant to encourage connection. both human and environmental. The streets are lined with independent shops, artisan cafes, and green courtyards where locals gather for open-air markets or evening strolls. There's a primary school and nursery, a community center, arts and crafts studios, and even a roller skating rink, blending tradition with a modern twist of fun. And soon, the heart of the neighborhood, Market Street, will open, anchored by a 24,500 square foot Tesco supermarket, creating more than 100 local jobs and supporting a range of retail and leisure spaces. It's a carefully planned ecosystem where people can live, work, and play without ever needing to leave the community. But perhaps the soul of Nansledan lies in its green philosophy. Nearly 300 acres of land are reserved for orchards, woodlands, allotments, and wildflower meadows. The entire design promotes biodiversity. Every hedge, tree, and footpath is part of a broader ecological plan. Renewable energy systems power the homes, construction materials are chosen for low-carbon impact, and the Newquay strategic route, completed in 2025, connects the town to the coast through walkable and bike-friendly pathways. For Prince George, Nansledan represents what his generation's duchy could look like. Not a collection of estates frozen in time, but a living network of communities that adapt and inspire. Where his great-grandfather built for beauty and tradition, and his grandfather built for harmony and balance, George will one day inherit the responsibility to build for resilience, to ensure these towns keep thriving long after he takes the title of Duke of Cornwall. And from this Cornish coast, where waves meet wildflowers, the lesson continues, toward the farmlands of Sandringham, where the royal family's deepest connection to the earth still grows strong. 5. Sandringham Farmland and Estates. Purchased in 1862 by the then Prince of Wales, later King Edward VII, the Sandringham estate began as a private refuge for the royal family. But over the decades, it has grown into something far more meaningful, a symbol of how the Crown's relationship with the land has evolved from ownership to stewardship. Today, under King Charles III's careful guidance, Sandringham has become a living testament to eco-royalty, a monarchy not content with preserving beauty, but determined to restore it. Spanning 20,000 acres, about 8,100 hectares, of farmland, forest, and parkland, this is no static landscape of manicured gardens and palaces. It's a fully functioning agricultural enterprise that feeds both people and principles. Of that land, roughly 2,400 hectares are directly managed through Sandringham Farms, a royal initiative that champions organic production, regenerative soil practices, and crop diversity. The remaining 4,000 hectares are leased to local farmers under long-term partnerships, a model that blends royal vision with community livelihood. Together, they form a balanced ecosystem of tradition and innovation. The estate's livestock is a pastoral portrait of sustainability. More than 2,000 Aberfield sheep graze freely across the meadows, 100% organic and grass-fed, while beef shorthorn cattle were recently introduced to enhance soil regeneration and grazing diversity. Crops grown here, from wheat, barley, and oats to pulses, root vegetables, and heritage grains, follow a careful organic rotation system that restores soil fertility instead of exhausting it. The estate hosts community education programs, local markets, and nature walks that teach visitors about sustainable farming and conservation. King Charles himself often visits to monitor progress, walking the fields, speaking with farmers, and promoting innovations in carbon-neutral production. His vision is clear. The monarchy must lead by example in healing the planet it has long ruled. For Prince George, Sandringham won't just be another family estate, it will be his training ground. Here, surrounded by the hum of tractors and the call of skylarks, he will one day learn the rhythm of stewardship, how to care for the land that sustains his people. Where other heirs might study business in London or politics at university, George's most valuable classroom will be found in these fields. Because in an age where the world's leaders debate climate pledges and carbon targets, the British royal family has already turned its estates into laboratories of change, proving that privilege can serve purpose. From the soil to the crown, stewardship runs in the family. And when all these estates converge under one name, George, Duke of Cornwall, a new chapter of royal stewardship begins. And in every stone, field, and square lies a story of how the crown still grows greener with time. If you believe the future of monarchy is not about castles, but about care, don't forget to subscribe, share, and stay tuned for more royal journeys. Thank you for watching this video, and see you in the next videos. Goodbye.